everyone, and welcome to this edition of eCapital Advisors monthly webinar series covering Oracle's ePBCS and PBCS monthly updates. This edition will be covering the September 2018 updates. We thank you all for joining us today, and without further ado, let's get started. Some background on eCapital Advisors. We are primarily a performance management and business analytics consulting firm based out of here in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. What we really aim to do is build strong, lasting relationships with our clients, starting with our technical expertise and experience, pairing that with our foundational business acumen in order to deliver services and projects to our clients to really add value to the business. We look to extend beyond the basic technological deliverables in order to really empower our clients and partners to make better decisions at every level of the business. To back that up a little bit, we are established, we have a track record, we have teams that are based all over the United States with clients and partners also across the states as well as worldwide. We are a growing company, and we specialize in, as I said, performance management, business analytics. We also work towards solutions in the implementation and upgrade space, which includes data architecture, hosting services, managed service contracts. We work with data analytics, governance, data visualization, as well as providing advisory services, data road mapping, business transformation services, and training as well through our eCapital University. So we've delivered solutions across a number of different industries in our time as a company since 2001. Whether it's retail, healthcare, institutional, or logistical clients, we've managed to meet and exceed clients' expectations in a number of different spaces, building into our reputation and kind of our proud delivery as a firm here. Just a few more examples then of some clients that we've worked for and with and continue to work with. Now you'll notice some big names up there. We definitely look to strive for success. Both in the Office of Finance, Operations, and beyond, depending on the client needs. So the voice you're hearing right now is Jay Adler. I'm an EPM consultant with eCapital Advisors, and I am joined today with my partner in crime, Eric Milbrandt, and we'll be taking you through this month's webinar. So what we really look to do in this series, for those of you who are new to our webinar, is we look through when Oracle releases each month updates for its PBCS and ePBCS environments, new updates in both functionality and announcements, things like that. We go through, we vet out everything that's out there, we do the testing on our own, and we put all the information together and deliver it to you so that you're able to be updated, informed, and ready to utilize new functionality in your implementations and prepare for the future. The agenda for today, first we'll go over the background on what PBCS is, and then we'll go through the new features that are coming out in this September 2018 release, followed by wrapping up with some support updates that Oracle is pushing out this month. So first, what is PBCS? So in namesake, PBCS is Oracle's Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. This is a fully integrated, cloud-based, industry-leading planning software solution. PBCS is built around a single, fully integrated, simplified interface for forecasting and budgeting for financials and other information. So some tools that are at our disposal using the PBCS solution would be data forms for user data input and interaction. There's native reporting, both through reports, custom and standardized, as well as data visualization via dashboards and a few other tools. You also have at your disposal with PBCS the ability to run real-time calculations via business rules that can be scheduled or run ad hoc. This interface really allows for analytics to be done in a repeatable format, both at summary level and detailed level of analysis, to provide a lot of value to your business in one simplified view. So why choose PBCS? Well, first, faster deployment is a big reason. So when you think about implementing an enterprise-level solution, for forecasting and budgeting, typically you've got a lot of upfront work that has to go in, setting up configurations and servers and being able to manage all the pieces that are involved there. With this being the cloud-based kind of global solution here, you can be up and running with the cloud service faster than you would have to when you're thinking about setting up infrastructure and things like that and having teams to manage that. Along with that comes a lower cost, so not having to purchase server space, manage any of those resources as a customer, things like that, as well as costs that come along with upgrading and supporting teams to manage resources. Again, being the cloud-based platform, it's a subscription-based service, so that simplifies some of those costs. Faster innovation comes along with this too. So again, with the subscription service, and really the purpose behind these monthly webinars that we put out is the ability to have the environments be updated on the fly monthly, so you're always having the latest functionality, the best tools for the job without having to go through lengthy and costly update processes that you might have with an on-prem solution. And this allows you to get to market faster and to innovate and be more agile in your approach overall as a business. And along with that, it's some lower risk too. So with Oracle's cloud offerings, I think they promise 99 to 100% uptime on their systems. We have seen that is consistent. The only times when we see downtime are when they are scheduled and well communicated by Oracle as well. With on-prem software, you sometimes run the risk of server crashes, things like that put you at risk, especially during critical close times. So again, with the cloud global platform, this can provide a lot of value right away for the business. Also, we'll remind you to not forget about ePBCS, which is Oracle's enterprise offering in the same planning and budgeting cloud space. ePBCS is kind of a different look at the same type of product, which is delivered through some predefined, pre-built models for financials, workforce planning, capital expenditures, project planning, as well as strategic modeling. So the aim of ePBCS is to really take the different parts of the business and provide kind of a streamlined approach and kind of modularize that so that you're able to get up and running and start to utilize some of your organization information and resources effectively. A huge benefit that we have with PBCS and ePBCS is the SmartView Excel add-in. So this would be the main way that users are interacting with the tool by way of a Microsoft Excel add-in, which allows you to access the different models that you have built or pre-built within your implementation's landscape. So this is very familiar for finance and accounting professionals who are used to the Excel interface, being able to drill and do ad hoc reporting, as well as interact with forms that have been built out in the simplified interface of the web. So really a good tool, and can also be used with different Microsoft products like PowerPoint and Word as well to interact with your environment. So the next piece here, we'll get into this month's September updates. New in September, we do have some updates coming out both for the Planning and Budgeting Cloud and the enterprise version of the tool. So we have a new EPM Automate Utility version, which Eric will get into in a bit. We also have a couple of data management updates coming out this month, so some new functionality there. And we do have a couple of enterprise updates as well. Quick reminder of one resource that's out there on the web for Oracle Cloud customers, and it is the Customer Cloud Connect. This can be accessed via the simplified interface. There is a link for it. And what this is kind of a communal offering from Oracle to involve its customers in forums for things like troubleshooting, as well as it's a place for Oracle to send out updates and announcements for things that might be key to your cloud implementation, and that includes events that Oracle puts on too, which customers can join in and be a part of. So it's a good resource out there for any Oracle customer to be able to check out, interact with other users, and kind of round out their knowledge and experience with the different tools. On a similar note, another reminder has to do with documentation, and more specifically Oracle and their willingness and receptiveness to update their documentation. So they do ask and encourage all customers to review their technical documentation, be scrupulous about it, and submit any feedback whether that's a recommendation for a change in the documentation that's out there or a request for additional documents. Oracle is very open to taking that advice and turning that into a better product. So they do push out updates based on user feedback, so they have an email there that you can send feedback to, and they're accepting of that and improving their resources accordingly. So this month's updates, first we see that on September 7th, the September updates will be pushed to the test environments for PBCS and Enterprise, and the production push will be September 21st this month. So now with this month, I will turn it over to Eric to talk about some PBCS updates for this release.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. So we'll get right into it with the first update being some simplification of role provisioning, and this really is kind of a theme for the first half of what we'll be covering today, which is also most of what I'll be covering, and you'll see what I mean as we cascade through the next few updates. But what has taken place is the way roles are provisioned, especially as it pertains to the identity domain, is being updated. And so those of us that have logged into that admin portal or identity domain know that the predefined roles such as service administrator, power user, user, and viewer exist. Going forward, anyone who's not assigned a role within there is no longer able to be assigned access control groups or even sign into the environment. And so, as part of this, what's actually happening is some other updates throughout the tool to accommodate this change are coming into focus. And so, again, not only will users not assigned a predefined role will be able to log in, but there will not be support for certain EPM automate commands, such as import snapshot. The provisioning report will only now show users who have been assigned these predefined roles, and the migrations will not export folks into that groups.csv if they're not provisioned with predefined roles either. And so as your organizations make this transition, there are a number of other updates that can be leveraged in order to accommodate the change, such as a new EPM Automate version. So as we know, EPM Automate is kind of the back-end scripting in order to automate or command line certain functions within your PBCS work environment. And so there's that nice link at this slide, which is, of course, something you can't click on, but if you Google PBCS EPM Automate commands, that will be the link you're looking for the quick directory of commands and functions. And so in this update, there's now some new functions such as add users, assign role, remove users, or unassign role. And these will just help, again, with the management of that predefined role piece of that new entity domain requirement as far as being able to assign groups and users in the access control and so forth. So encourage anyone that needs to automate or look into this to check this out. This will be big if folks have not been assigned predefined roles at all, if they've just been in access control. And this is potentially something that, if not handled properly, could lead to users maybe unexpectedly not having access. So I would encourage everyone to log in and check their user setup and make sure that they have test users that can still log in prior to that September 21 rollout. Along with that, the REST APIs have been updated to, again, include adding and removing users to the identity domain, accessing and assigning predefined roles, removing roles, and removing users again. So again, as we move through the different facets of the tool, we're seeing, again, the automation in the EPM Automate, the API updates. And so as this tool has evolved, Oracle's done a fine job of ensuring that, again, all components and modules of the tool are being included and considered as far as these updates go. Moving on from the identity domain user pieces, there have been some moves as far as the interface and accessibility for system settings and defaults. And so rather than going into the older system settings and defaults page, there is now the application settings menu, which will lead you to, managing administrator settings, defining app settings, system defaults, and things like that. So that means then, starting with this update, the system settings and defaults page has been removed completely from the navigator menu. So I encourage you to check that out and make sure that you're still comfortable navigating. Along with that, the user preferences screen has been kind of unified into one spot as well. And so what that means is now, as an end user, you have preferences, of course, for all the many aspects of the app. And rather than going to many different spots in order to edit your preferences, such as select members for user variables, ad hoc preferences, printed reports, a profile picture, and things like that. You now have this under Tools, User Preferences in the simplified interface in one unified spot for ease of accessibility. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jay Adler to take us through the remaining updates for the month of September.
Thanks, Eric. So the next couple of updates here for September, a couple of these have to do with data management. So the first one here is a new adapter for data loads. It's called the incremental file data load. So this is a new option that is aimed at optimizing some data load processing, having to do with your environments using data management. What this is a setting that you can now set up for your target applications in data management to load via incremental loads. And what this does is performs a compare between the previously existing file for loading and the current file that you're loading to your application or whatever target. And then you're only loading then the changed information. So there's a couple of options that go along with this now. One option is sorting versus not sorting. So you have the option to either pre-sort your data load files so that the compare happens directly before your loads to data management, or a sort, which then data management will sort your files for you and then perform their compare from previous to new state, discern what is the information that needs to be loaded, and go from there. So something to hopefully help with some performance, keeping in mind, of course, that if you are using a sort functionality in this, it might take some time, depending on the size of the data file for data management, to get through that sort before deciding what information is new. Next update here for data management is the ability to drill down from summary members. This is a setting that it is selected in data management, where you say you can enable to drill from summary in your target application. After this, you can load data using drill region set to yes. And what this is going to allow you to do is, after you load data then, if you're looking in forms or reports, you can look at a summarized level at anything besides scenario, year, and period, and you can drill into the detail for up to 1,000 descendants of a summary level member and get some detail into the source data there. So some flexibility with some drilling capabilities here. So a couple of good updates functionally for data management and getting some more use and flexibility out of your tools. And the next two updates we have are actually related to enterprise PBCS specifically. The first one has to do with strategic modeling. So the first one we have here is the ability to push formulas to sub-accounts within account forecasting and strategic modeling. So when you go to forecast out accounts, you have the options currently to do either a standard forecast formula, which is then preset using different methods that Oracle defines, so things like using actual values or a growth rate or a percent of another account to do forecasting, as well as freeform, which allows you to use some more custom formula and expressions. Now with the freeform formulas, they give you an option to apply to sub-accounts via an apply to selector, so that you can then take a forecast formula from one account and spread it down to its children based on what you select. So just maybe cutting a little bit of time down if you're using some freeform formulas to apply that to sub-accounts. And the next enterprise update we have is related to workforce planning. So one update from Oracle here that they give is that they have this month pushed out some improvements to performance on some of the business rule calculations that they provide within the model. So a little bit of a bump in performance based on some coding that they're pushing out. There's also a new calculation manager template which they provide this month, and it's called Oracle Workforce Planning Fixed Parallel _T. This is the new template which enables you to specify your optimal dimension for using a fixed parallel statement. So a fixed parallel, as we know, is kind of an optimization option for performing calculations with multiple threads. So by default, right now, the workforce calculations in ePBCS will fix on the entity dimension. And with this new template, you can then fix on different dimensions. So if project, for example, is what you're primarily loading to, you can change that fixed parallel to projects, and then the process loaded data calculation rule that utilizes this template. We'll focus on that. So maybe a bit of performance boost with this option available for you to have some flexibility. So that does it for this month's functional updates. Now we'll move into some support updates that we do have from Oracle for this month. So a new one here, this has to do with application level access using access controls. And this is more of a proposal than an update at this point from Oracle. What they're asking is on this one for their customers to go in and review what this update would look like for them and basically submit a service request, if there's going to be impacts that they see. So what's happening here is currently our app level access in the environments can span across the UPM cloud environment, so planning, consolidations, and close, tax reporting, and data management. There are predefined roles by domain that we use right now, so your domain followed by your admin, your power user, your viewers, planners, so those predefined access groups. What Oracle is proposing for reasons to simplify their security across the environment and to ensure that they can migrate more easily with security, they're going to remove the ability to actually see those predefined roles as groups in access control when you go to assign access to things like business rules, forms, reports, things like that, as you kind of see on the screen there. So you won't see those predefined roles, but it will not affect your ability to assign and manage security groups via access control. So again, what Oracle's just asking here is for clients and customers to vet this out and see if there's going to be any impacts on their environment, which they don't, and we don't expect there to be any. But it's something that could be coming down the pipe at some point here. Next support update here is the Classic Dimension Editor. So this one has been, if you've joined us for the last few months and even into last year, this has been a topic. Oracle is sunsetting the ability to use, or rather removing support for their Classic Dimension Editor to be used from the simplified interface. They're moving us towards the web-based member properties dimension editor. And now what they're saying is support will be cut off for the Classic editor at some point in 2019, and they're expecting to let everyone know 2 months ahead of time. So if you haven't moved yet to the web-based metadata management tool, please continue to make that change. Another one here is the removal of ability to create new composite data forms within the interface. So this is being phased out in favor of dashboarding within PBCS and ePBCS, but in order to give customers more time to ramp up and adopt to the use of dashboards for visualization instead of composite forms, they're pushing back their removal of support until similarly to 2019, and again with a 2-month kind of heads up beforehand. So that'll do it for the support updates for this month as well, and now I'll kick it back to Eric.
Thanks, Jay, and thanks again, everyone, for sticking with us through the September updates. As we have kind of shown, the theme is really this month that identity, domain, and user management implication for everything, so we really, again, encourage everyone to check their environments and make sure that they're not having any issues with user setups or user access or anything like that. As always, we will post these updates and make them available for everyone on our PBCS update website. This contains not only the most relevant video snippets from each month, but also an archive of prior months' PBCS webinars as well. So again, thanks again, everyone, for attending, and if there are newer folks, feel free to check out the archives and see what some of the other things we've gone over are. We also periodically do hold on-site cloud events, and so if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to Jay and I, and we can make sure to get you on the list for our in-office PBCS events to really help people gain some exposure to the technology. So with that, again, always feel free to contact us with any and all questions and concerns, whether it be PBCS or other facets of eCapital's business, and we can certainly route your request accordingly. So good luck with this month's updates, and we look forward to rolling out the October PBCS next month.